Tonight, we're exposing the identity of a Canadian who jihadists say was a suicide bomber, responsible for the deaths of 46 people in Iraq. And we've discovered a surprising link to at least 4 other men who left this country prepared to fight and die. Senior correspondent Adrienne Arsenault has our exclusive story tonight.
In the haze of blood in Syria and increasingly Iraq, there's one extremist group so grotesquely violent, even Al-Qaeda condemns it. It's called ISIS. Atrocities are its trademark. Even the briefest glimpses are hard to watch. Random drive-by shootings of utter innocence. November, in Iraq, ISIS staged a double suicide bombing, killing 46 people. It did what it does, showed off the faces of those it said were the bombers. One face was a shocker, this one. The violent jihadist group didn't identify him, but CBC has now learned this is a Canadian named Salman Ashrafi. He grew up, went to school and work in privileged circles in Calgary with those who had no idea what happened until we came calling.
Oh, I know him. Oh my God. They were not born in front of me, but they were very small kids. They grew up in front of me.
This man grew up in front of you?
Yes.
He changed. The Salman Ashrafi this imam knew had a future others envied. A management degree from the University of Lethbridge with a minor in social responsibility, of all things. Jobs at Talisman and Exxon and huge downtown firms. Opportunity was his neighborhood. So just an anomaly that one man here would go off the rails so horribly? No. Calgary is increasingly considered a hotspot for exporting jihadis. The convert Damien Claremont, killed as an extremist in Syria, was from here. So were potentially as many as 24 more young men. We learn more of them and their connections to each other all the time. Consider this then, that Salman Ashrafi, Damien Claremont, Claremont's roommate, and 2 siblings, brothers, who all left Calgary to go wage jihad in Syria. There are many others from the city who have done just that, but these 5 men are key because they were all friends. They all left the city at roughly the same time, and incredibly, they all lived in the same apartment building, this one in the downtown core. Why here? We know they went to the same restaurants together, prayed together at a mosque attached to the building, and according to someone who knew them all, had meetings, sometimes in Ashrafi's apartment, where he reportedly instructed them that the only way to live with non-Muslims is to force them to succumb to your will. The man who'd once organized anti-racism rallies at university had changed. Some who encountered Ashrafi are scared of the consequences of talking about him. This man says he once tried to steer him on a better path and failed.
I felt that he was a bit impressionable and that he might have been around certain charismatic preachers in the community that might not have had his best interests in mind.
That refrain we've heard before, particularly from the imam who has had death threats for speaking like this, but feels he must because someone has to stop men in the city from killing and dying.
It is impossible for me that intelligence people do not know who's radicalizing Muslim youth. It is going on undercover. It is going openly sometime. It is horrible. What Canadian government is doing? Nothing. I mean, this guy died. Many people may die in future. There may be several people have died from our country. For what?
His anger is real. Canada is exporting murder, and Calgary's a hotspot. Someone here knows how this is happening and may know who's next. So the imam you just heard has said that he has already spoken with police and universities and CSIS because he's fairly sure he knows how the radicalization might be happening, perhaps even who is behind it, maybe how to stop it, but he says that no one has responded to him.
So, Adrienne, can you tell us, is there anything else you can tell us about Salman Ashrafi?
Well, we've spoken with his family, who seem completely perplexed by these accounts. They use words like shocking and unbelievable, completely appropriate words for this reality. In fact, there are so many other young men whose stories we're only beginning to understand. Each one seems to be just as perplexing. Wendy?
Thanks so much, Adrienne. Adrienne Arsenault tonight in Calgary.